recorded first. We'll start again. Good evening. It's 6:30. We have a quorum. We'll call the planning board meeting to order. For attendance of the planning board meeting, we have Joe Zagrodnik, myself, Jim Maximowski, Matt Waldrip, Bill Dwyer, and Mark Dunn. And this meeting is being recorded. First up for general information, Mr. Dwyer.
I'm not sure how big a crew this is, but the other Mr. or Dr. Parmar, I think it is, was the first one here. And I'm not sure who's with him.
That would be myself and Marcus Puttick. Marcus, are you on? He's the civil engineer.
Yes, he's there.
Okay, perfect, Marcus. I will let you sort of lead the way here.
Marcus is muted and black screen, so. Well, if he's not ready to go, Mr. Iser.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just unmuted. I thought.
I'm here. This won't take long.
Okay.
So I sent in a PDF plan of 132 Russell Street. I talked to you guys about it a couple weeks ago about somebody that wants to do a class 2 used car dealer's license. So I just need to get on the agenda for a special public hearing, special permit public hearing. I guess Bill didn't want to listen to me.
Okay, today is the 4th. We could do it. We could do it April 15th.
Hang on one second. Mark, when are we leaving? When are we leaving? Okay, 15th is fine, Jimmy.
Okay.
And I will get you the application and the mailing labels
Okay.
in the next couple of days.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, that's fine.
All right. All right, that's all I need.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Lucas, you ready?
I am. Good evening. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. Very good. Thank you. My name is Marcus Puttick. I'm a civil engineer and licensed land surveyor in Connecticut, and I'm working with Grady Associates out of essentially Boston area. On this project, this is a 7 Brew, which is a drive-through only coffee shop that we propose to be located at 347 Russell Street, next to the Jiffy Lube that is existing. The access is from Russell Street is through the adjacent large shopping plaza with a separate driveway, or a lighted driveway into that plaza, as I'm sure many of you know. This coffee brand is drinks only. They serve coffee, teas, some energy drinks, and whatnot, but there is no food associated, no packaged food or prepared food on site associated with this business. It has 2 lanes that enter and for stacking at the drive-through, and they have no drive-up window of any kind. They have runners, or essentially staff that stand out there with an iPad. When you drive up, they approach your window, take your order. You either pay with a credit card there, or when you pull forward to the stop bar, they have your drink ready for you, and you can pay with cash at that point. This site is, I won't say undisturbed. It has been disturbed in the past. It appears as though it's been, dirt's been pushed around a bunch. But it is an open meadow, if you will. Now it's mostly scrub brush and so a few small trees that we will obviously be cleaning up and paving. There is some landscaping associated. The building itself is essentially two pieces that are built off of site, or one is the main building, which is 525 square feet, I believe, to be exact, but they're both very small. The other building is a small 247 square foot refrigeration unit. They are built off site and brought on a truck and then unloaded from the truck by a crane onto a crawl space, concrete foundation. They all look essentially the same. They're Seven Brew as a brand has grown up out of Arkansas. They are at the moment a little over 300 stores in 37 states. That's a quick and dirty overview. I don't know if anyone has any questions about operation or technical questions. I'd be happy to try and answer anything that anyone has questions about.
No, this is an informal application.
Yep.
So, anybody have any questions? Yeah.
I can bring up the site plan as well while you guys are thinking of questions.
Yeah, please do.
Okay.
So it's next to
Yep.
Jiffy Lube.
Yep, which is right here. You can see the screen now. And then our building footprint is right here, the 520 square foot building footprint that Marcus mentioned. And the drive-through lanes start down here and then wrap around like that.
I guess the first question that comes to mind, you're adding a lot of pavement. Where are you going to put your snow?
So we have a few spots off of the side of the parking lot for putting snow, and then in the center of our sort of islands in front of the building and behind the building, as well as off just pushing it to the side of the travel lanes or the queuing lanes.
There's a wetland over there on the
There
northwest.
is. Yes, there's a brook that runs under Russell Street and hooks away from us from there. I believe that's sort of the maintenance and restoration of the retaining wall or end walls around that brook were why this parcel is shaped the way it is. DOT had a taking where they took a corner out of this property in order to do some of that maintenance.
Hi, I'm the Hadley Conservation Agent. So for that project, I think there's an active delineation. So do you have a plan that shows that delineation kind of overlaid with like the buffer zones?
I don't at this point, but I certainly, if you could share it with me, I will add it to the plan simply.
Right. Because I think most of this property would probably be in the riverfront area then, under that delineation with the perennial stream.
Yeah.
I will get your email from Bill, or if you're already if you had sent this plan, I will send you the delineation that I have.
That would be great. Thank you for.
Yeah, you'll have his email from when he sent the plan to me and I sent it around to the planning board and to you.
Yeah, signage and lighting.
So we do have a lighting plan. The majority of the lighting is down lighting under the canopy. There is a canopy associated with this near the near the stop bars where folks pick up their drinks. And then there are two pole lights, one near the dumpster and one near the turning radiuses of the stacking lanes. They of course are directional and won't project out towards Russell Street and are intended to project just straight down.
Yeah, we don't need to get into a lot of detail on the site plan here. We'll get into all of that for the public hearing.
Yeah.
Alex, you have your hand up? Alex Lamarche? Or is that an accident? You guess not. Okay. Pardon?
Here.
Yes.
Where, like, pretty much where.
Okay.
Okay, Alex, I can add you to this agenda.
Yeah.
Well, I'll put you down now. We'll get to you.
We'll get to you at the end.
Perfect, thank you.
You know, we don't need to get into a lot of detail on the lighting or anything else, but on your signs, you're allowed up to 4 signs per your building. I see you have 3. I think there's 3. And the total square footage of the signs cannot exceed 64 square feet, and they cannot be internally illuminated. So just to take a look at that and get whatever you have, make sure it's in compliance for the public hearing.
Okay.
Okay. We could. We'll need 2 sets of butters on mailing labels. I don't know if you have that. No, I don't think so.
We certainly can provide that.
Okay. Or you can
So
just
it's
put them
just
on
directed
mailing
butters?
labels or envelopes with your choice. You can get those in the assessor's office.
Okay.
And we could hold a public hearing on April 15th. We have opening. If that's okay with you, is that too early?
That will be good. We will get everything we need by then.
Okay. Well, the filing fee will be determined basically by the cost of the public hearing, which lately have been running about $500 per publications. That's strictly it adds in a newspaper. We have no control over that. Years ago, they were like $180, and they have skyrocketed in the last few years, but that's newspaper costs. And the cost of whatever cost to mail the mailings out in a small $100 fee or $150 fee on top of that. So probably somewhere around, I don't know, $600 or $700 ballpark.
So quick question on the mailing labels. Is that directly adjacent to the parcel or is it within 100 feet or?
300, within 300-foot radius of the property.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if your property is a standalone property or part of the mall.
It's a standalone property.
It's a standalone property, so it would be 300 feet radius of your property. And if you tell the abutters, if you tell the assessors what you need, they'll know just what to look for. They are very familiar with doing this.
Okay, very good.
And that's basically it.
Okay.
Do you have any other general questions? No? Okay. So it'll be a Zoom public hearing. We hope.
Okay.
The only reason I say we hope
We
is
heard.
because the state edict on holding Zoom hearings expires on the end of March. And there is legislature to basically extend that or some kind of modify that a little bit. But it's held up right now in committee and we have no clue what's going to come out of this. So we're hoping they continue Zoom hearings. But time will tell. Hopefully by the end of the month, we'll know. Okay.
Yep. Either way, we will be there.
Okay. And that is it. Once I get the publication cost, I will email you your application with fee and a date and signature and stuff like that. You can pay that to the town clerk after you get the application and the mailing labels and go from there.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your
Thank
time.
you so
Have a
much.
great night.
Yep.
Okay,
Take care.
thank you. Next in was Amanda Pfeffer.
Hi, good evening.
Right.
I was looking for J. Crew is going in 327 Russell Street, and they are looking for halo lit channel letters. So be
Yeah.
back with
What was the address again?
327 Russell Street.
It's in Mountain Farms Mall.
So what was Bed Bath Beyond, I think?
No, it is what was Mattress Firm.
Oh, okay.
When Mattress Firm was part of the main mall structure.
Quiet, please.
I have the sketches if you want me to share them.
Please do.
So the existing signage is going to be removed and the goosenecks. And they are looking to install internally illuminated the halo lit channel letters. So they will not be face lit.
What's the outside dimension of the signage?
They are 26 inches in height and 16 feet, 10 inches. So they're 36.58 square feet, which I believe we're allowed 40 square feet. So we are under the square footage.
I believe you also are taking a spot on the highway sign.
Yeah, on the pylon sign, they're gonna take the panel out that was there and put a new one in. So that's just a graphics change.
I'll make a motion to approve signage as submitted.
I would second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or comments?
That's it for me.
Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Dunn, aye.
Dwyer, aye.
Maximowski, aye.
Waldrop, aye.
Zagrodnik, aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Okay. We're all set. We'll get a email out to the building inspector and we should be all set.
All right, we still need to file a building permit application, correct?
Correct.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Good night.
Okay, yep.
Let's see. Next in was Liam Feeney.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. My name is Liam Feeney. I'm with Bowler Engineering, representing Walmart in the Mountain Farms Mall. So I'll share my plan here. Just looking to discuss the potential permitting path for a pavement marking and signage improvement plan over at their store in Russell Street. So sharing the plan here. So this is the existing Walmart store, and we are showing the existing parking lot that's located here. And we are looking to introduce largely just pavement marking and signage improvements throughout the parking lot within their lease limits. And it's largely related to stop bars, stop signage, and stop text. So you'll see along the outer circulation driveway, we're introducing stop text and stop signs. And then along the frontage road here at the front of the building, we're also introducing stop text, stop signs as well. And then if I'll take a zoom into the frontage road in front of the building, we are introducing some modifications to the crosswalk. So, you'll see some new crosswalks as a part of this project with some brighter pavement markings, an improvement from what's out there today. And another big part of the project is a modification to Walmart's pickup operations. So in existing conditions, Walmart has an online pickup dispense operation where they're utilizing these existing 6 spaces here, and the associates come out of this door and cross the driveway here. As a part of this project, Walmart is looking to punch a new door into the front of the building here, and they'd like to instead utilize these existing 13 spaces. There's no change in use as a part of this project, and there's really no change in the operations. It's just designating an area within the parking lot for these operations. So there will be some a small internal modification to the building that the architect at Walmart will submit a building permit for that work. So largely the work is going to be pavement markings and signage, and have been in discussion with the conservation agent for the work that's within the resource areas associated with the stream down here in the wetland buffer. So we are proposing some signage located within the landscaped areas here that are within the riverfront area. So I've started the conversation with the conservation department there. And just taking a look at the zoning analysis table, this is located within the industrial zone. So our plan, I understand for the town of Falvey, the minimum parking is determined by the size or the gross floor area. So this, if we were to take a look at the lease limits, this parking would be underparked per zoning. So we're not proposing any change in parking with this. Instead, what we would do is just put additional signage here that shows that these are pickup parking spaces. So there wouldn't be any change to the pavement markings here, and just trying to better identify this area as the pickup parking, which is an initiative that Walmart's been doing at their stores throughout the region. So with that, those are the improvements that we're looking to do, and just wanted to discuss the potential permitting path. Without having any increase to the building footprint or any change of use, we're looking to see if this would be an appropriate administrative review by the planning board, and to discuss the opportunity. And then if the applicant could submit a building permit concurrently with any approval with the planning board, or if they would need to get a planning board approval prior to submitting a building permit. So with that, happy to answer any questions and talk through this plan further with anyone.
Any significant signage?
So, I mean, for any signage that would be a part of the building, the architect will submit that as a part of the pickup building permit. So that is not included as a part of this package, but I'll definitely forward the signage restrictions that are part of that onto the architect, but that's not a part of this package. But any changes to signage on the building would come from the architect and part of the building permit application. Otherwise, yep.
Signage is under the purview to be approved by the planning board before the building will give a permit. So tonight, if you want, we could give you approval to do what you want, but you'll need to come back to us for signs.
Understood. Okay. That sounds good. And just to clarify, the signage would be for building signage. However, does that count for wayfinding signage or the pickup signage within the parking lot?
We would probably want to see what you're proposing for any signage
Yeah.
Although that, but I'm going to assume that your signage for the parking area is going to be similar to your competition at Target right up across the street. It's
Yep.
going to be basically going to designate this is for pickup, whatever you call it. And you probably have some kind of, maybe painted a little bit differently, whatever it is. And that's all fine. We would just like to see that. If you're going to have any different building signage per se, we would want to see that because to make sure it's in compliance with, I don't know what different building signage you might have. So we would like to see that.
Understood. So I'll get that coordination started with the architect to see if they're proposing any building signage.
Do you have any examples of the parking lot signage that you were proposing?
Yes, I can definitely bring something out. Might just take me a second to pull it up. But we do have some details of what the parking looks like. We have some details that I can pull up. Might just take me a second.
Yeah, you're calling out a lot of signs there. So
Yep. Just a moment. So while I pull this up. Right. So here we go. This is a similar project scope here, which is showing pickup parking signage. So I have some details here. And this is located, something that we were proposed here, pickup parking signage within a curbed island. So there's a concrete foundation that will go into the landscape island there. Pretty small foundation just to hold the sign up. And then it has the designated pickup sign. And then there's a number associated with each spot. So there'll be 13 spaces designated as a part of this improvement. So there'll be signs 1 through 13. And then when someone orders an online pickup order from Walmart, they're given a number parking sign to arrive to. And then the associate from Walmart comes out of the proposed store here and will bring the order out to the designated space, which is the current operation. They have 6 here, 3 on either side. This is just kind of showing some additional spaces here because it's just kind of a growing business that they have.
So they have the crosswalk, but otherwise they're in the travel lane of the parking section, right?
Right. Yeah.
They're walking behind the vehicles.
Correct. Yep. So this would be pretty well signed. It'd be clear that this is the pickup area. And so we would have a crosswalk here. And then we'll have some wayfinding signage that shows people to come into this drive aisle here and come up, and this would be the pickup area. So they are coming out and walking behind the cars here.
These signs are not illuminated, correct?
They are not.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
see, what we would be concerned about, I don't have any concern with this signage. I see that there is a comment for additional logo sign on back when back faces public street. And I'm assuming you're not going to be having, we'd be concerned about this being all logo. But if it's just going to be wayfinding signs, we're fine with that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we can take this off. This is just a note that's covered when it's facing the street. These are not facing, the main roadways. It's largely located within the parking lot. So I don't think that's something that we would propose. So it's largely just going to be pickup signage here. It gives you a phone number to call. You have the store phone number here so that you can call in as well. And then the number sign as well. And then there would be some additional signs. We'll probably, I think, propose there's some light poles within the parking lot. So we'll show drivers within the lease limits, direct them towards the pickup sign so that they're not driving around the parking lot. So there'll be a couple of pickup wayfinding signs as well that are not detailed on here yet.
So there's not a sign on the back of the number sign.
We can take it up if they is that's kind of the standard here, but we can take this off so that it's clear that you're not looking for an additional sign back there.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. That being said, just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. And we are showing just at the back of the building a larger stop sign and some stop markings at the back here. So I just wanted to make sure I captured that, but it's typical with what's imposed within the parking lot.
I'll make a motion to waive further site plan approval for parking lot striping, directional signage, and reconfigured online pickup and delivery area.
I would second the motion.
What was their motion again, Bill, to parking lot striping, signage?
Parking lot striping, directional signage, and reconfigured online pickup and delivery area.
With related signs.
Yeah, I want to, we're excluding, I think it doesn't have to be said in the motion, but we're excluding any building sign revisions. Which Mr. Feeney has said are the architect's responsibility.
Yeah, and I'll get that coordination started for anything within the building or on the building. And so that being said, we'll have this is a draft plan. So if you're looking, I imagine you'd like to see the final plan if there's with the additional wayfinding signage, and would that just be an administrative review or administrative sign off by the board?
Just a simple submission would be fine. I mean, what you've got right here, what we'd like to see is you showed us a picture on your screen of the parking lot. I call it the directional signage for the parking spaces.
Yep.
If you could just show us what you have basically on your submission so far is fine. But if you could just give us that picture right there.
Yep. Yeah, we have a lot of details for the contractor specifically for how to pave all these different pavement markings or how to paint them. So we'll include that as well. All these different markings, so they're pretty detailed. So we can include that in the submission as well.
So how much might the draft, how much might the final change from this draft?
It's just going to be some additional detail, really. The additional wayfinding signage, which I haven't really located yet. And I can't say there'd be much of a change.
Well, okay, why don't I withdraw my motion for now?
Okay.
And just come back when you have a final, but we can handle it administratively.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I just wanted to see if this was something that we can review administratively. And I'd rather the motion be on the final plans. This is a draft plan at the minute.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it'll be just to come back in 2 weeks with your plans you may have at our next Zoom meeting and just show us all the final details and we can give you the same administrative review we're going to do tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you guys taking the time to talk through this. And I'm a UMass grad myself, so I'm looking forward to the opportunity to work in Hadley.
Now, are you doing as part of this some pavement repair?
No, there's no pavement. The site was actually paved recently within the last year and a half.
Okay.
So there's no pavement improvements.
I just saw notes about a seal coat.
Yeah, there will be seal coat where we are removing existing pavement markings where there's existing crosswalks that we're modifying slightly. So there will be seal coat, which we'll detail on the updated plan. But it should be largely within the frontage road, but that's seal coat. It's not really a paving operation.
Gotcha. Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. See you in 2 weeks.
It might be, I don't know if it'll be in 2 weeks. I just have some additional coordination, but I will stay in touch with the board on when I plan on resubmitting.
Whenever you come back, you come back. I mean, if that's the time frame here is up to you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate the time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Alex, did you make it in?
I'm here, yes, and I apologize for earlier. I was driving and didn't realize that that I was interrupting something. So my bad. Yeah, so I'm just looking to hear out the board's opinions on where and how they want their meetings filmed, whether or not they want them similar to select board, or if they want something a little simpler, what room they might want, what building they might want, etc. So I just want to make sure we're prepared for if the state doesn't extend it in time.
I mean, we would, my opinion, we would like to keep Zoom as our way of meeting. If the state says we can't do that, then I guess we'll be looking to you for suggestions on where we would be appropriate.
So I would think the senior center would be a little more appropriate, mainly because that's the only building so far that we have key access to besides our own building. The big room obviously can be, you can hold people in for public hearings, depending on how big your public hearing is going to be. So, I mean, that would be my suggestion.
Yeah.
Room in the COA is also another option, but it also depends on how you want them filmed. Do you want multiple camera angles? Do you just want us to use an owl? It's really all dependent on how you want it.
I think the classroom would be fine. We rarely have large crowds, and we usually know well in advance if we are going to have a large turnout for a particular project.
So by the classroom, Alex, you mean the same one the DPW meets in?
Correct. Yep. So
Okay.
we pulled my little schematic here.
Is that the Oakley room or is that the room that's further back?
It's the one that's right outside of Jane Devon's office.
It's the Oakley room.
Yeah. Oakley room. Yeah.
Give me 1 second here.
Directly across from the restrooms.
Exactly. So there's a little schematic here. If we were to use the Oakley room, obviously here's Jane's office. Here's the door. The television's here. These are your chairs for the public. Your chairs for your committee, and presenter chairs, and then a working table for me or Nick to run the recording. And any other tech needs, because I know you're definitely your board is definitely gonna need tech needs because of all the plans that need to be shown.
So we would be able to stay hybrid.
Well, no. The owl, we can record. You don't need Zoom to record with the owl. But if you wanted to go hybrid, we could totally do that.
Yeah, we'd like to be able to bring in
consultants,
like the gentleman that was just here, Mr. Feeney. I don't know offhand where he's from, but there's no real need for him to drive to Hadley for his 10 minutes of fame. And it would be easier for us to have his project up on the screen so that we could see it and everyone else could see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. as long as I guess there's a quorum, of the board. So we could totally do that. It'd be good to have some heads up if that happens. If we're not to be extended.
I would say that virtually every meeting, we would have people coming in the first half hour from wherever.
I would agree with that one.
Okay.
Because for walk-ins like this, I mean, typically we know on Friday of the prior week, and almost every time somebody has a plan to show us for something.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's just questions. And sometimes they're in Hadley, but most of the time they are not, and they're as far away as, well,
Yeah.
Midwest, Carolinas, you name it, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
So, like Bill says, I mean, the one nice thing about the Zoom meetings we've learned is that we get, first of all, better participation, but we also get much more willing people to come in and show us, because they don't have to drive 5 hours for a 15 or 20-minute little dog and pony show. So,
Right.
So even if we all have to come in and sit there, we'd still like to be able to offer remote participation.
Right. It increases participation.
On a technical part, yes, we can do that. I would still want the board to talk to Jessica in the town clerk's office to make sure that is okay to do. If we're encouraging, that's my ask.
that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I still want to get stuck into something that I don't need to be stuck into. But on a technical on a technical basis, and as long as Jessica gives the okay, we're able to do it for you.
Okay.
And I like having it in the COA because that's a fully accessible building, which is a lot more than you could say about our old physical lots in the second floor of town hall.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess just to wrap up, what you saw on the screen would be okay with you?
Yes.
Okay, then we'll plan on that, and I'll make sure that Nick knows when the time comes, if the time comes, as we are all waiting to see what the state does next. So,
Well, and to be 100% honest, I hope it never comes.
Yeah.
yeah,
Alex, I would just say, have you tried the tables turned 90 degrees? So like, let's say the 5 of us had our backs to the window. That way we could see the screen without having to turn around.
yeah, I can absolutely think of something up for you guys.
Okay.
And then it may take one, if we do have to do this, it may take 1 or 2 meetings to really find out what works well. So, you know, we're not locked into whatever you've shown us. It's a good starting point. And like I said, if we have to do this 1 or 2 meetings or 3, whatever it may take, we'll find a way that makes it work for everybody.
All right, awesome. Okay, we'll make
Thank
something.
you, Alex.
You got it. Thank you. Have a good night, and thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Okay. So that brings us to the rest of the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission.
Good evening. Good to see everybody. Happy March. Tonight, just some quick updates. Not a lot of progress over the course of February due to travel, my own personal travel and some conflicting schedules. But I do have some additional questions for you. Working through the agenda, planning board rules and regulations, we're still going to be getting some final language in place for standard conditions for special permits. I have a draft for Mr. Dwyer I'm sending out in the morning. Just wanted to double check a couple things. So that should be wrapping up soon. The permitting guide, I believe we've got the flow charts finalized. Thank you, Kayla, for your feedback on those. We're just waiting on ADU language from the AG's office. I understand that we're going to be expecting a decision on the special town meeting warrant article no later than April 17th. So I'm assuming we won't get it until April 17th.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they asked for another extension either.
Yeah, right. Hopefully,
Anyway,
hopefully not.
it's beyond our control.
Yeah, I know. But again, that's a very minor section, so I think it'll be a quick fix as soon as we get understanding of what the AG has to say. One question did come up. I remember, I believe last meeting I attended in February, there was mention of or just early discussion about changes to fees, the fee schedule associated with applications.
Yes.
I would just request as soon as that's finalized, forward that along because we did put that into the board rules and regulations.
Okay.
Just want to make sure that I have the accurate numbers whenever I deliver a final draft for everybody. The next big topic is the 40R Smart Growth project. I believe we have a tentative date for our next meeting for next Monday, confirming it. Everyone's available to attend. That'll be our first meeting welcoming new steering committee members and bringing everybody up to speed on the project. And then we'll be discussing our next public engagement meeting. The hope is to host one public engagement event early to mid-April before I will likely need to step away for family medical leave. And we want to just try to get some momentum going. That's likely going to be a very informative public forum type of event. Try to get the steering committee in front of the residents to share some of the background work that they've done, share results from the survey that we conducted last summer and fall, and then start just getting feedback on what residents are really interested or opposed to. Related to April.
Any news while we're on 40R, any news grant?
Oh, no. I was hoping that somebody would have an answer from the town's perspective, but no, I've got nothing. It's become a bit of a hot issue amongst planners across the state. I'm seeing chatter in the mass listserv. It's for professional planners across the state. The answer provided from the Executive Office on Energy and Environmental Affairs was not very informative. It was really just hold tight. So yeah, I guess we might be an interesting wager if the AG's office gets back to you before EEA at this point. I don't know if I'm going to put any money on that one though. Either way. Yeah, so hopefully we won't get too far down the 40R engagement strategy that that I kind of mapped out at our last meeting. Again, at least 55 hours of the planning board assistance contract is set aside for the 40R tasks. That could be fewer depending on how much time I need to spend on the other remaining tasks.
And we do have Plan B.
Oh, right. Yes.
We do have a standby vote for Affordable Housing Trust Fund funding.
Correct.
If we run out of the planning board grant or planning board assistance contract funds.
Correct. Thank you for reminding me of that, Bill. Hopefully, we're not going to get into it. Ideally, we would have never had to get to this point, but EEA will hopefully follow through.
If I could just jump back to the
Please.
40R.
Yeah.
And this is more for the board. Matter of business, the town clerk asked about the terms of the appointments to the 40R. She had our terms expiring at the end of the calendar year in 2024. So do we all need to be reappointed, or is there no term? Do you want to talk to Jessica and get back to me, or?
I had not thought of it as a term appointment at all. I thought it was an appointment of a subcommittee to see the project through.
Yeah.
Duration.
Right. Okay.
I can talk to Jessica.
Well, I'll respond to her and I will copy you in. Sorry, Kyle. Back to you.
No apology needed. Any other thoughts or questions about 40R?
Just
Okay.
continue on.
Yes. Two questions. First, just want to request and confirm the board's comfort with me inviting my colleague Aidan Hemian McMahon. He's a fellow senior planner here in our land use and environment section. Likely will be stepping in when I do need to take my family medical leave absence. Was hoping to bring him in at the April meeting just to introduce him and make sure that he's familiar with kind of where the various work tasks are.
Yeah,
so
that'd be great.
Great. And then I had a second question because we had discussed updating the zoning map. And I wanted to confirm, I had a question regarding, I was reviewing Article 21, which was the Senior Housing Overlay District and Zone Map article from special town meeting last fall. And the way it's written, the closing of the article reads, and I quote, as set forth on a map on file with the town clerk or take any action relative thereto. My question is, my understanding, that is a green light to revise the map as needed and would suggest there's no need for an additional warrant for annual town meeting. Does the board have clarity or confidence in that interpretation?
The rezone of the, I'm gonna call it the North Maple Street parcel was clear. That was passed and that's all set.
Right.
If you want to, what's being considered is to simply rename that parcel from, right now, that parcel and the parcel, if you would, in the center of Hadley, all has the same designation.
Right.
There will be a proposal on the annual town meeting, most likely, to rename this new North Maple Street parcel rural senior housing, and the terms of the senior housing overlay will give a few different subtleties between the two districts.
Right. So then would you like a new draft warrant for the zoning map, or will it just all be included?
It'll all be
in the single. Okay.
We'll take care of all that.
So then are you needing PVPC support for that map? Because I know that we created the original to display it.
For the graphics.
Well, only to redraw it after it's passed at town meeting, if it's passed at town meeting, to be changed names.
Okay.
This will all be done by the reasonable fee of Attorney Reed. He's sitting in a corner over there.
I see you, Tom. I see you. You're ready to go. All right. That's welcome clarity. So thank you. I have given a heads up to our GIS And I've already offered some thoughts on, because Mark mentioned it's a rather complicated layout for a zoning map with the amount of overlays, and some that are kind of town wide, some that are very localized. So it's on a docket and just waiting a green light to update. So we'll wait for May.
And do you guys found the original CAD file?
I haven't confirmed, but I'm assuming that he has it.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he was present for that one.
Okay.
And if he wasn't, he's our best guess. Yeah. So I believe that's all I have in terms of updates and questions at this point.
Okay.
There's no others.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doc.
Anybody else have anything for Mr. Kyle? No? Attorney Reedy.
Thanks, Jim. Folks, so last we were here, we discussed density, percentage of senior housing in town, and building footprint. That was in addition to what we had already talked about with some other changes to the senior housing overlay district bylaw. And so the direction at the last meeting was for me to go and to prepare what will ultimately be on for hearing with your board, and then hopefully ultimately the town meeting warrant article. And so I know I didn't get in by the Friday deadline, but Saturday morning hopefully was okay. I provided you with 3 different documents, and I mean there's substance and form here that we can talk about. The 3 documents are a red line of the senior housing overlay, which it incorporates all of what Jim did. So Jim, I think some of this was really just taking the document that I had got from Bill a while ago, and it might have appeared wonky. And so I think Jim corrected that, but he also made some typographical and maybe some grammatical changes. And then we added some substantive changes. So that's one document that's kind of like the all-inclusive, let's call it working draft. And then I've got a document that just shows in red the what I'll call substantive changes that we're proposing. They don't include as red or highlighted some of the more minor grammatical changes that Jim made. I can certainly add those, but just so we know that, you know, first document working draft, second document just substantive changes, and then the third document accepts all of the changes that were proposed. That's going to be the warrant article. You know, once we get to that, that's what we're going to be proposing, because the warrant article is going to seek to substitute in its entirety the existing senior housing overlay with the new language, which will include these substantive changes and then Jim's grammatical changes. So what I'll do is I'll share the screen. I'll show the first 2 documents just so you can kind of see the difference between the 2. And then I'll take some direction. And then I think the next thing you're looking at is to hold the hearing. I've got it in my notes April 1st. And so I think you've got to publish it on the March 18th, I think. So you might have to have it into the paper by March 13th. So that's just kind of like timeline where we're going. And then obviously to give me some direction so I can prepare what you need, because what we had talked about was for our office to print, to provide support and to print those documents where I have the red line and the underline of those changes ahead of town meeting. So that was a task. That's what I had submitted, and I'll share my screen now so that we can talk about the document. And so hopefully if you can see it, what I've got is, this is what, this is the, I'll call it the working draft. This is the red line is what I've called it. This has what Jim's moved. Jim added this, capital S housing developments, bylaw right here, added special permit, senior housing. And then we start to get into the substance of it. And so I guess we don't have to kind of belabor this document. I guess my fundamental question is, would you like me in the, and I'll stop sharing and I'll pull up the other one, in the document that has the red lines, would you like me to include those changes that Jim has made as well? So what I've pulled up to the screen now are what I'd say are the substantive changes that we've made, but I can do something that adds Jim's as well. I just want to be sensitive to what are we calling this document? Or is it proposed changes? If so, then I probably should include Jim's. If it's substantive changes, then I might not need to include Jim's. So I guess that's the first piece as to form, and then we can talk about substance in a minute.
I would guess the one that you have on the screen right now should include my grammar changes or grammatical change, whatever you want to call them, all in one, just so that we have one working document like that. That's my 2 cents. I don't know what the rest of the board feels.
I think that's logical.
Because when the town clerk has the right to make grammatical changes, I think, to a document, as long as the change doesn't change any intent or meaning. And sometimes when we've sent that to our company that takes care of our bylaws, they sometimes don't quite do it the way we want. So if we give it to them the way we want, we got a much better chance of getting what we would want.
It makes total sense. That was my inclination, but before I muddied up another document. So that'll be a simple fix, and I can do that. So now maybe let's talk substantively just a little bit. I'll go to the new sections. One of the new sections, and this was something I caught in a final review, was 27.3.3.2, uses allowed by special permit. In addition to those uses allowed by special permit in the underlying, a senior housing development shall be allowed by special permit in the senior housing overlay district. Upon approval by the board, senior housing development may include single, duplex, triplex, quadruplet. It didn't have anything to really contemplate what we're talking about and so I just added buildings containing more than 4 dwelling units to capture what it is that we've been talking about. I didn't want to say multifamily because that's a kind of a loaded term of art, means different things in different contexts. So I just put buildings containing more than 4 dwelling units. So this is new. You haven't seen this before. If we'd like to discuss or change it, I'm obviously happy to do it.
I think that makes sense.
Should we have a maximum number, like more than 4 and less than 40 or something?
Yeah, I mean that you if I could, Mark, that
Yep.
You've got that mechanism built in through some of the other restrictions you have, no more than 50
Right.
in a development altogether. So that would be the limiting factor, in addition to the density, which it's probably a good segue. I'll roll into that now.
Okay.
And so this is the density discussion that we had. Why these are changed is really just the numbering in the front. So this is the number of dwelling units and bedrooms permitted. The maximum number of dwelling units and bedrooms permitted in a senior housing development shall not exceed. And if you'll recall, it was 1 dwelling unit per 7260, 14 bedrooms per acre, up to 5 bedrooms per acre. That was straight across the board. And so our discussion last meeting was, well, let's treat rural. First of all, let's change density, and then let's treat rural different than the vintage senior housing. And so that's what we've done here. So the rural is going to have the same as what currently exists, which is 1 dwelling per 7260, 14 bedrooms per acre, up to 5 bedrooms permitted by right? So that's the rural. And then you go in the senior housing overlay. So this is a new section 27.5.3.2, and then 1 dwelling unit per 4,350 square feet unless such maximum is waived in the discretion of the planning board upon a finding that the proposed project would not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than if such a maximum was not exceeded. All calculations of dwelling units resulting in a fractional unit of half or more shall be rounded up, all others being rounded down. And so this was something that we talked about last meeting, and this is what it looks like on paper. And this also separates it between rural and regular. So this is, we discussed, but new to you as far as what you're seeing.
Making
10%, we put that in, it was 5%. We talked about 15, we talked about 10, and I think the discussion was to move it to 10. This we had talked about before. So, Mark, this is one of those limitations.
Yep.
So no building shall contain greater than 50 dwelling units, except that in the senior housing rural, no building shall contain greater than 4 dwelling units. So even though in that top part, it allows buildings with more than 4, in the rural, you can't have anything other than 4 is the max, and B, you can go from 4 to 50. If you want to change that, you
Right.
can. I
And
think
this-
probably don't know my
This
senses.
brings to mind another issue, which we don't have to, we won't jump into here now, but we kind of touched about it your last time here, is maybe we as a planning board with PVPC look at some kind of form-based code that would give us the reassurance other than just, your client saying, we won't put a big tall building right on the street. It will be, back, it will be, sculpted or softened or whatever. And so that's what some other communities are going to, is a form base. That might be something that's a bigger acorn.
And maybe, Mark, let me hop down there because this was something that we had discussed, and this might hit on part of your point. So the footprint limitation. So we added this to 27.5.16 within the senior housing overlay district, which exists within the village center overlay district, section 19.2.9.2, which is that no greater than 12,500 square foot footprint of the Hadley zoning bylaw may be waived upon a finding that the appearance of the building is suitable for the neighborhood, taking into consideration without limitation the building's setback, shielding, landscaping, and massing when viewed from public ways.
Right. So that's giving us a little veil, but yeah, that's good, Tom. That's, I think in the long run, we may want to look at some other language overall in our code. So yeah, I like it.
Question on this one, Tom. Finding is a term, is an actual opinion of a zoning board. Here you're using finding, I'm assuming you mean the finding by the planning board.
Yeah, and so I've seen this plenty of places elsewhere where the permit granting authority, right, not necessarily special permit granting authority, but the permit granting authority has a standard of, so you can grant a waiver. How do you grant a waiver? You have to find that the appearance is suitable for the neighborhood, right? That's the finding. So you would, let's go through this process. You'd say, yes, we find that it is suitable for the neighborhood because, and then whatever reasons you want to give, you could give. But yeah, it's not like a finding of no substantial detriment under 48 section 6, right? I'm not looking for capital F finding here.
So, okay, I just want to be clear that is clear to everybody, that this is a, I don't want to call it unofficial, but not a ZBA term for finding. This is just a planning board
Opinion.
Yeah.
Would you want to substitute determination for the word finding?
That's fine by me.
Yeah, that might be a little bit better. I mean, we know what that means, but I'm just concerned that down the road, somebody may misconstrue that.
Some lawyer, probably, Jim.
Oh, jeez.
Know those lawyers.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So make that determination and then we'll be,
I will. Okay. Those
Should-
were the new sections based from everything that we've talked about, for the past few months. That's kind of the culmination of it. I'm happy to go piece by piece here. Again, we've done it a couple of times. So I'm happy to do it. But what I would do for a next step is update this changes document to include Jim's changes, and then have an updated version of this with an updated version of all of those changes accepted and submit it to you so that you can then post and have your hearing. And depending upon how that hearing comes out, obviously, if there needs to be some changes, we'll be at the hearing. I can make those changes for that final to go to be printed. If you need some pamphlets for town meeting, to have it at the town clerk's office, however you want to do that, et cetera. I'm happy to help.
Tom, could we go back up to page 1 again, please?
Of course.
2731, the wording is confusing. Could we say there shall be 2 senior housing overlay districts, which shall consist of the area specified as senior housing overlay district and senior housing rural overlay district?
What if we call the original one base or something like that? Because otherwise it sounds like one has the name rural and one doesn't. And they could be confused that way. Is that kind of what you're?
No, what I'm getting at is using the same expression twice in the senior housing overlay district. Yeah, I think we just clarify there are 2 senior housing overlay districts.
Maybe the central senior
Yeah.
housing overlay district and the rural.
Okay.
That's not a bad idea, just because, Bill, I was thinking the same thing when I was looking at this Saturday morning, because you've got senior housing overlay district. And he said the purposes of the senior housing overlay district. And so then I started to think, like, do I have to pluralize these, right? How are we going to do that? And so maybe to Mark's point, if I do senior housing overlay district shall consist of, and I guess then the question is, do we need another warrant article to change its name to the central, or can that be done as part of this? So, and then they could be collectively known as senior housing overlay district.
I think we can make the changes to the names of the district in the separate warrant article.
Okay.
Just to designate what was the term you thought of, Mark? The central. Yeah, that would be.
That seemed to be a good term.
And should I follow it? Should I do?
So then senior housing overlay district could be an umbrella term for both.
Yes.
So here's the question, form. Do you want me to put central senior housing overlay and
Yes.
rural senior housing overlay,
I
or
think so.
senior housing central and senior housing rural?
Oh. Maybe maybe senior housing central and senior housing.
Yeah, I kind of like central senior housing and rural senior housing.
Okay. I would agree.
So that will actually be clearer when we get to the other article about we'll rename the 2 districts in one article. I think we could do that.
in the separate article, right?
Yeah, it's in the separate article that we have already to retitle the rural senior housing overlay district. We'll just say that the two districts shall be the central, which is the same as the village center overlay, and the rural, which is, you know, whatever the language was in there. But I think that would be a lot cleaner, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It's a good suggestion.
It takes a village.
And I'll go through just to make sure that it's sensical, right? Up here, any other places it says senior housing overlay, because, you know, Bill, I know you can appreciate this. You know, when we define things and then collectively the central and the rural shall be known as the senior housing overlay district. Anytime we're saying it, we have to make sure that it does apply to both.
Right.
So I'll read through kind of with that in mind and then make any edits as necessary. Okay. Any other thoughts, comments that you want to get to me? Well,
No, I think with those changes and putting it all together into one will look much better.
There were some sections that had like a blue underline, and I didn't know if that was something that would print or if that was something that was part of the app.
like this stuff here, Mark.
27.553.
Yeah, I think that's just
It's
my computer
part of the
telling me that.
software.
Yeah, just a grammatical something. Microsoft Word, not like what I'm doing.
Which wouldn't actually print. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, and I'll make this all consistent, so it'll be rural senior housing where necessary. I'll clean it up. Okay. I guess I'll ask Kishore Shardul, anything else that you guys want to mention, or are you good with where we're at?
We're good.
Yes. How are you guys hiring? Do you need another planner over there?
Well, we might actually, we're pretty busy. And we might have a full zoning bylaw work to do. So if you want to take a whole,
Oh, no. Whoa.
yeah, I know. One section's enough. Good work though, Tom. It reads well.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
So that deals with the two interconnected articles here. I did send around the suggested changes from town council to the solar bylaw. I don't know if anyone had a chance to look at it, but they were minor. It just basically said, instead of remove no earth, it says only remove earth consistent with the scale of the project.
Right.
So that'll be what, 3 articles for the planning board? The solar modification, the definitions, or the creation of the 2 separate senior housing districts, and the modifications to the bylaw as a whole.
Right.
If we keep having this many articles, we're gonna never get off the bottom of the warrant when everyone wants to go home. Or is that our target?
They like putting us at the end, especially when there is a contentious article, because it keeps people there. Seriously, we've seen that a couple of times.
Yeah. Whether it actually works or not,
Yeah, we don't know.
we
As
don't
long
know.
as no one calls a quorum.
Exactly. So I think I did send around the letter from the AG delaying the consideration of the ADU bylaw. And
One for town council.
And then the last piece that I just found it today, but I sent around to you, the town council did file an appearance on our behalf in the ZP battery appeal. So I did check with town council, and the fact that this document exists and that it was filed with the court does not require us to go into executive session. It's, it is what it is. There's no risk of no strategic risk to mention it in open session. That's all I have.
I have nothing else. Anybody have anything?
No.
Oh, very well.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I would second it.
All in favor? Roll call.
7:50.
Done. Aye.
Where I.
Maximovsky, aye.
Walter, bye.
Roddick, aye.
Motion passes 5-0. This meeting is history. Thank you, Kayla. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Tom.